Welcome back as we head into game 3 right here. It is currently tied 1-1 apiece, and whichever team that has taken the Felios first pick has gone on to just straight out win the game. That's where we stand between Megabank Beyond Gaming and PSG Talon. First off, we have to thank our sponsors once more: CTBC Bank, China Airlines, Chunghwa Telecom, and Caliber. Thank you for your support and making this so damn enjoyable to cast. Now, coming back into the series itself, we do have PSG going back to blue side, and the big question is, as we have discussed in the previous post game, what do you do when the enemy team has a Felios? What are the answers? Is it just a ban, or can you let it through and then counter?
Yeah, and I think the other question is, again, like, how are we going to answer back? Yes, the Ziggs does well in team fights and isolation. However, if you draft a composition of Karma and Olaf, you're really all-inning towards the early portions of the game, and it prevents the Ziggs to have that same impact once it does hit 25-30 minutes. And you saw right there, they were forced in a position from PSG's side to all-in onto that Baron buff, and hopefully they would be able to get out with multiple Barons, but the amount of Barons they came out with were absolutely nil.
All of them died in that bit, and going back to our discussion, that's what we've seen so far. Teams have tried to incorporate both poke and the 1-3-1 aspect against the Aphelios. So far, neither has really worked out, and in the PCS itself, we have seen that actually Aphelios still holds a better win rate against Ziggs. So it's very interesting to see what is the development of this one. I didn't expect 200 years to still be the go-to power pick with everything up, like Gwen, Xin Zhao, Viego, but it is exactly what has been the case, and now we're seeing PSG ban out the Ziggs preemptively, most likely going to force Beyond Gaming to respond with the Aphelios ban.
And then feels like we're just going to come down into a bunch of utility bot lane champs as a result, but it will still be the Camille banned away from PSG, making sure playmaking power is taken away from Liang, as Liang has shown still pretty damn good proficiency on the Jace pick in game number 2 when he was given the resources and also the ability to poke people out. Well, you saw that Jace absolutely trucked PSG.
Oh, and that is going to be the ban for sure. Really nice call out on that one. To be honest, there's still a lot of good top lane champions still available. We'll see which one they get. Like we mentioned, the Gwen has been...
Is it Viego or Aphelios here?
We'll be the Aphelios at the end.
So
Viego playing it pretty close, saving it for last man.
Yeah. So Viego should be this first pick here for PSG. I feel like the Hanabi Viego experiment has effectively ended, but Lee Sin left through could be the priority instead.
So Lee Sin for them is still a flex pick. We still have had Hanabi played in the top lane, even when it was nerfed. So it's possible that we are going to get a swap, but most likely still going to go towards Rivered. Beyond Gaming, I'm not sure if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but it's it was there. I struggle to say that either Rise and Xin Zhao were the most important pieces so far, but they are very comfortable champions for these players, and they're just going to go back to it.
Yeah, and theoretically, the Rise pick should be able to get early priority, yet also scale very effectively towards the later portions of the game. We just haven't really seen it utilized properly by Huxia, being able to use that extra priority coming in from mid lane to then make plays around these side lanes. PSG, they will go ahead, lock in the Varus pick here, so we might see some sort of Varus Ashe matchup in that bottom side. Maybe it's an Ezreal if Doggo wants to have better scaling. But it will also be the Trundle locked in, which has a lot of flex power, but when you do see Xin over on the flip side, you can just toss the Trundle into this jungle and really put a number around him if you have that extra priority coming in from your solo lanes.
Yeah, it could be a flex here. We have seen 3 positions that Trundle has played in the PCS, so that's not locked in stone. The mid lane's still wide open, and I think that will be the target bans for Beyond Gaming. Of course, Zoe being kept off the table. And I would guess the Syndra as well, just judging from how the bans have gone this entire time. They really don't want Maple on something that can have early impact and early burst potential. That has been the entire drafting strategy from Beyond Gaming. PSG going to take away some supports here. Kino actually had a pretty damn good game on the Alistar, so I wouldn't be too surprised to be seeing that one taken away as well.
Could also be a Braum pick here. Take that away, take away the ability to just big disengage power from Braum, of course. And also the Alistar, you know, if you do take the Alistar in, could be problematic against a Trundle because you can get easily punished in that regard. And for BYG, they go ahead, ban away the TF, and it's just these really early roaming champions from Maple that do a big number onto BYG. Maoan not really known for his early rotations. And also, when you limit Maple's playmaking, it just gives you a better chance overall.
For sure, as Beyond Gaming, now with this Ezreal pick, I think they're solidly once again going on the 1-3-1 route. They had the counter pick for topside as well. Now it's about picking a support. Don't really expect the Yuumi to come through. That would be a first if they do lock it in. Kino's definitely one of those guys to pick some weird champions, but it's not the place or time. It will be the Braum, like you suggested. Love the call out right there. You can proc concussive blows on the Mystic shot as well. So good skirmishing potential, great defensive disengage, and exactly what you want for a 1-3-1. Now PSG have to show their hands. You know, Lee Sin and Trundle, these are highly flexible picks. So you could be seeing a support, we could be seeing a jungle and solo lane configuration. We're going to find out now. My personal bet is on the Syndra. We talked about this one. Still incredibly powerful champion in the hands of Maple. And he finally will get a burst mage for the first time this series.
He's going to get a playmaker this time around. A little bit more wave clear, and GP left through this time around, and could get locked in. And I feel like Leon will just go ahead and answer back with something like the Kennen, but Kennen would also be a bit of a bait pick here, as it's very difficult to play. Okay,
let's go.
I'm down.
Let's go.
All right, the question is,
okay, go ahead.
Is the Lucian going in top lane, or does it get curveballed into mid lane? I actually would like it into the hands of Maoan, but I mean, this is definitely Liang given all the resources in draft, right?
Yeah, it'd be a very all or nothing matchup in the mid lane. It will go into the top lane. We are waiting until the tick down. You have to lock it 20 seconds, so we'll find out then. But Liang, this is his debut on Lucian. He has not played it the entire split. This is going to be the first time he goes for it, and it is known as a very strong counter to the Gangplank. So yeah, we have that 1-3-1 in step. We have Liang trying to outshine Hanabi in the top lane, and maybe Beyond Gaming will take their first lead in the mat head-to-heads this entire year.
Yeah, and the clear opening for BYG when you look at these rosters side by side is, if you're going to generate advantage, it's going to come through this top lane more often than not. In this bottom lane, yes, Doggo can get advantages against Unified, but that's more matchup and champion dependent rather than straight up player manpower. And in this top lane, you know you have the extra muscle on Liang to take it to Hanabi. And that's where all eyes are going to be, is on this Lucian pick.
So we know the win conditions for Beyond Gaming very clearly 1-3-1, but for PSG Talent, what do you think they're setting up to do here? I feel like their comp, it can be played a couple of ways, but in this matchup specifically, where are they going?
They have so much pick power here, and given the fact that even though Mega Man Beyond Gaming have great lanes, they have great 1-3-1 pressure, doesn't change the fact that you have this amazing nuke potential with the Lee Syndra. And then you also, of course, have the catch potential of a Lee Kick, of a Trundle pillar, and there's a lot of tools to capitalize on any mispositioning coming in from Mega Bank Beyond Game.
Taking a look at the Keystone runes here, we do have the press the attack for Lucian, and will be Hella Blades or Unified. Pretty standard, but there has been a couple of variations here and there between what you can take in those slots. Just taking a look at the level 1, we did have Trundle roaming up for an early ward on for Liang. This is a pretty common strategy, as we will have the bush vision. Seems like Liang knows about this as well, as he does ping those bushes into the top lane. We're just waiting for the jungle starts right here. Both of them will start on the bottom side.
Yeah, and it just helps. That early ward up top side helps out. When you are taking some of these trades, you aren't able to break aggro by jumping into the bush. And it will be both junglers starting bot side as expected when you do have a Gangplank, and when you do have a Lucian up into that top side. You want to invest resources into Lucian to try and get him snowballed, and from the PSG end, you want to invest resources into the Gangplank to make sure he doesn't get hard punished in that early game. And once he's able to get out of that part, things will usually smooth out, but against the Lucian, it's definitely a rougher path to get to that point.
Well, we do have the Bush Pirate here by Hanabi, just weaving and bobbing inside and out of that brush. It's going to make life very difficult for Liang. Liang just says, you know what, I don't want you to use that brush. I'm just going to push the lane. We'll have to contend with the Lee Sin later on, but for now, he does have right of way. Meantime, in the bot lane, Unified getting a little bit of poke. I should expect just the hail of arrows here to win out on some of these early trades. Both sides waiting for level 2, and we go into the emote war, which is something that both of these teams have been very friendly about. Like, throughout the entire season, Beyond Gaming has basically always kept PSG on their wheel of emotes. They adore PSG.
I mean, they've also gained a lot from PSG coming into this summer split, knowing, of course, with Doggo being on their roster, getting in a little bit inside look at how that team operates, gaining a lot from that experience at MSI, and bringing those ideas into this summer split for Mega Bank Beyond Gaming. As Liang, you know, not looking as great as initially thought, as he did flub a couple of those double taps onto the barrels. So maybe he hasn't played this matchup in a while.
Yeah, this is interesting to see. He is going to get some help from the top side and the TP here. Syndra is going to relinquish her position, as we have one scuttle being taken by Beyond Gaming. Looks like the other one will be split by River. This does mean that most of the gains in the top lane for Hanabi are going to be very hard to materialize here, as just have a straight back from Liang. And at the same time, as we've talked about these competitions, I feel like for me, PSG are the ones that actually need to have a strong showing here with the Syndra Lee Sin. Like, the Lee Syndra is basically the ultimate Sinner combination. It is not about scaling whatsoever. So we'll see how they can do with this one.
Yeah, Syndra does scale well, but with a lead. It's not something that, like, well, if nothing happens, she still scales. It's if nothing happens, she becomes more of a utility control mage rather than that big assassin when she
Hanabi getting traded very heavily on.
Yeah, and Liang, it's not quite level 5, so things of course looking good, but Kusha, it will just chill around that mid lane, show his presence, and Maple delays his back even more. So currently it will be a faster back for this Lee Sin. He's going to get back onto the map just a couple seconds faster, as now Kaiwing is up in this top lane looking to try and make a play up on to Liang, or just ensure that Hanabi is able to get this wave crashed.
they are taking extra precautions. They actually did spot Husha going back, but they still want to send Trundle here anyway. Just playing extremely safe, and they are getting rewarded. Liang has to flash away. Exhaust goes down, and goodbye goes the Lucian. First blood to Hanabi. A game one, it didn't work out snowballing top lane, but they're going to try again.
Yeah, and usually you're expecting the support roam to come in around 8.5 minutes once that Rift Herald does spawn, but this time around it comes in at 4.5 very early into the game, and it's such a massive win here. Being able to burn Flash and still get the kill here, definitely worth an investment from this Trundle. And this is just the PSG advantage. They have Kaiwing. He's an elite support, and no one in the league just matches up to him.
Yeah, that was very hard to anticipate there. Just just sending. The jungle's already gone towards the bottom side, and it's like, well, I got the support here as well. Just Kaiwing doing Kaiwing things right there. And the great thing about that was the pillar. Like, the pillar knockback was actually massive in getting Liang that kill there, getting the kill onto Liang there. And now Hanabi, he still has his ultimate, can still impact things in the bottom side. So, Kaiwing, they honestly aren't that far behind. Like, you can't really trade against them, even if Kaiwing isn't in the lane.
Yeah, it's really difficult to force the issue with Ezreal Braum. Yes, you can proc passive very easily by hitting the Q. But now beyond level 6.
Check this one. Hanabi going straight in, has to dodge out on most of the calling, but still going to come out with the HP lead. One more auto attack, and goodbye, Liang. Two guns do not beat one. Hanabi looks like he's going to have another great game. Lee Syndra coming in for Maoan. The burst damage doesn't get through, and River dies underneath the tower. Husha, just in the nick of time, gets one back.
Really perfect CC coming in from Maoan to set up that counter kill, and you thought that there's just enough damage, but no, they come up short. But this top lane kill, Liang just absolutely blundering the execution here. Doesn't have a ward to toss into the bush, and I mean, you eat the barrel, and after you eat the barrel, that's fight over from the gameplay perspective.
Into a wall. On the later route
he pinned himself.
Yeah, positioning was kind of sus there. I think we could both agree on that. Not the prettiest of plays coming in from Liang. We hope that doesn't tilt him that much. Honestly, he's been having a great series so far. But right now, there's no way he can stay around. He's even going for the tier build, and he's pretty much saying that, well, this is kind of scuffed. Gonna have to wait later on. Beyond Gaming now going to focus onto River once again. River has spotted him, I think. Oh no, he has not spotted them. The two-man's coming in here. It's going to be a 3v3 happening on this location. Looks like PSG will relinquish their position for now, given that Lucian's also coming down.
And Maple's not interested in trying to match that roam. We'll try and get some chip damage as they come in for the rotation, and Kaiwing is here as well.
Maoan is in a very awkward spot, but he's almost full HP, and at this point, don't see the damage. Liang gets tagged down once again, has to calling into the face of Hanabi. Hanabi doesn't get the chain barrel, though. Good sequence from Liang. Really quick fingers to take that one out.
Well, yeah, actually being able to pop the barrel before it goes off is key for him to actually stay alive there. Is follow slow would have spelled impending doom.
No flash here, triple knockback onto the scuttle as well. River gets the first kill of the fight, and here comes Hanabi. Husha, they have to get out. Kino flashes in, but Maple's still going to walk away. That's going to be a 2-for-1 trade. Herald on the board as well. Just unfortunate for Beyond Gaming standing on vision there.
Yeah, and as a result of that play up topside, Liang doesn't have the ability to make the rotation. He ends up losing a lot of health, so he doesn't have the health bar to make his way over, and it's just the Kaiwing difference on this Trundle pick. Putting up a pillar, it just leaves them with no room to maneuver in these fights, and it's Maoan getting caught out from that pillar, and you're going to see this play come in over and over again against 3 relatively immobile carries. It's going to, at the very least, burn their big ticket cooldowns as far as repositioning. You know, there's a long cooldown on that Ezreal Arcane Shift. And same with the Relentless Pursuit early on. And Maoan, he doesn't have any of those escapes. Would have to use a Realm Warp to get out if he doesn't have Flash.
Yeah, that sounds rather painful on the side of Maoan. Just want to give a small shout out to River as well. He found a beautiful Dragon's Rage onto 3, I believe, in that team fight. Just knocking all of the bullards down. Now Hanabi is going to be knocking on this top lane in the meantime too. They do have the Herald play, but they're saving it for now. And looks like it will just go be a straight bottom play right here. So far, Syndra has had right of way the entire time, so it has allowed PSG a lot of map mobility to just get Maple in the right spots.
They're going to rotate over for this dragon. Of course, they have really just, for the most part, perfect control in that area. Also have decent coverage up top side when it comes to vision, which means that Gangplank knows that it's time to evacuate the premise. He does go ahead, let that extra wave die to tower, but now he's able to walk back up.
Yeah, we do have to mention this again. PSG can trade super hard on the bottom side because they have the cannon barrage. Like, there's not really any chance for you to take down the tower without the Herald. So I feel like a big tempo play is coming for PSG. There's so many different ways they can set this up.
Yeah, and I feel like it's going to come through either throwing that on Rift Herald for Maple to try and then break that lane open and allow the Syndra to roam, or just get priority in that mid lane and overload topside, which is a play that they're very comfortable doing time and time again.
And here we go again, a tale as old as time itself. River in the tower dive, easy pickup onto Liang, that's his 3rd death, and there's no trade back. They still hold on to the cannon barrage, they can deal with any cannon wave, any minion wave that they want to. Beyond Gaming are not in position to do anything. They don't have priority bot lane, they don't have priority mid lane, top lane pays the price.
Yeah, and the big thing here is, again, it's the support differences, right? The Trundle has the ability to roam in a lot of these situations, and the Braum is just all about focusing in this 2v2. Make sure this AD carry is really protected here. Doesn't have the ability to roam as fast as a Trundle pick. And Kino also just hasn't shown the willingness to roam up top side, as he's been really focused on getting bot side vision. And you can see, hey, we have a lot of vision bot lane, but we haven't really been able to do anything with that vision. It's a big difference.
This is the scariest thing about PSG. If they can hold their bottom lane alone with Unified, you're suddenly dealing with an extra body everywhere else on the map, and that body is Kaiwi. He's just the specter of doom as he roams everywhere. And Beyond Gaming, we did talk about their strategy. You know, they still have this late game rise. We still have seen late game Ezreal's pop off, but it's a long while before they ever get anything online. And you look at Hanabi's build right now, he's gonna blow up whoever he catches.
Yeah, this is a very squishy lineup coming in from Megabank Beyond Gaming. If anyone ever eats a barrel, that's like half their health gone from the extra Triforcine proc and that extra serrated Dirk. And once that Dirk item does get completed as well, that's just so much burst potential. River possibly caught out, is forced to disengage with the ultimate here, but a big cooldown gives a little bit of relief here for the side of BYG.
I'm trying to see if BYG is going to try to mount a defense here, but doesn't really do anything here for Liang. Holds on to the culling, and just fight for position at this point, as we finally have the TP coming in from Mawan onto the backline, but Hanabi's TP is significantly closer. Now Maple coming in onto Kino. He's in a bad spot. The cannon barrage goes down.
Mawan's
he barely
behind.
stays alive, and River finds the flash over the wall to get the kill. Mawan, though, does find Unified, unable to make it into the team fight at the very end. Mawan takes half his HP, doesn't get into River, has to walk away here. That's going to be a 2-for-0 trade in favor of PSG.
And Young on this Lucian pick. Early grades of it, I'm looking at a D. It's not looking very good here, as he is 0 for 0. We get to see the replay. It ends up both of these solo laners trying to come in on a flank, but this flank is just not very good. Kaiwing splitting the fight very easily with that pillar time and time again, and while Kino is able to help out Husha to a certain degree, the pillar forces him to flash out, and Mawan comes in to try and flank the carries, and Liao, I don't know what he was doing.
He was trying something for sure, but it didn't really work out. It was a very opportunistic pincer move by BYG. However, PSG just stood their ground. They beat off each side one by one, and I like Mawan's move right there. That was some gangster play. He's trying to do a drive-by, a realm warp into a snipe off on Unified. Maple just tells him, nah, and just takes him out of the realm warp. So. Honestly, a lot of great attempts from Beyond Gaming, just none of it worked.
Yeah, I feel like if Liang plays with Husha, or not Husha, with Mawan on that flank, and they're just together, it changes the play completely, but ends up trying to go for an individual play and gets fully punished for it. As he's been a little bit too tunneled on getting max value out of these cullings, and as a result, it's put him in pretty precarious positions, using the relentless pursuit to try and just hit more of those culling shots, and end up dying more often than not because he doesn't have that extra mobility.
Yeah, Lucian at this point, I think, is a bit of a non-factor. He's a champion that can definitely snowball. It's hard to see him having impact at this point, as we're probably going to have blue buff round 2. That's the fastest blue buff I've ever seen.
Yeah, unfortunately, flubbed the execution on that one, but that's okay. Still delays the blue buff from BYG, and they probably don't even know that it's still available for them. And yeah, while Liang does have the Gale Force completed, it's not going to do much against a full 2 items on the Gangplank. This Gangplank is just so far ahead. And what's different here from the Viego game is that, well, Gangplank, he can still play around the team. He doesn't need to call the shots here. Has, of course, that global ultimate to utilize. Whereas the Viego, you need to force resources into him and force plays around it. This time around, he can kind of just sit and wait.
Yeah, I like the way you put that. He is just much more hands-off of the pick. And I do want to mention that this has been sort of a unique pick in the PCS, as we get Leon taking one barrel to the face. He's going to culling on top of Nabi. Nabi flashes in for that, but at least he does proc Mawan to come in and rescue with the Realm Warp. This is the day that you thought you were going to catch the Bush Pirate, but he plays the 1v3 quite nicely, walks away completely fine, and the mid lane now is going to go down because of that. PSG also trying to cut off members going into the jungle right here. Kino and Husha, they've got to take the scenic route to defend their mid lane.
Yeah, for the side of Mega Bank Beyond Gaming, they see the play coming in from Hanabi, and they try and answer back immediately by drawing 4 members up top side, but the immediate answer from PSG is just to throw Rift Herald down mid lane, and BYG, they're just way too far behind the play. Doggo possibly caught out. Unfortunately, not quite enough damage on the side of PSG quite yet, but in another 5 to 10 minutes, that could definitely be just death sentence there if you teleport willy-nilly like so against a 2-item completed Syndra pick and 2 items completed onto a unified, and yeah, just double certain Serpent's Fang here is so much team fight power from PSG.
There is no illusions about this, but if you get hit by Scatter the Weak right now, you dead. There's nothing you can do. There's too much poke damage from PSG at this point. So, Beyond Gaming, they have to spread out. They can't really allow these pushes to happen. They are going to get a 2v3 into the bottom lane.
Catch.
Wushot doing great things, almost taking down River, and the Winter's Bite does find him. They are going to snowball into more fights, catching PSG off guard. A massive shutdown being taken here by Mawan onto Gameplank, and they also defend the top side at the same time. Beyond Gaming, a massive play.
Inside of Beyond Gaming, this time around, they were actually the first ones to rotate. They forced a pick into that bot side jungle, and what a great pick it was. Maple ends up not using that teleport.
Here. Slow down again. Should still be fine though, but you know, we have seen this bush seems to be the death of everyone this series. We've seen so many people just stand on these wards, but we're gonna watch this fight once more.
Yeah, and it comes down to River thought he had the catch, but the play immediately turns around. And this time around, the 4 members are able to get to the play, arrive all together. Didn't quite work out up top side against Hanabi, but this time around, PSG just a little bit too far committed to the play, and they will get punished. And that's also the nice thing about Mountain Rift. If you ever play in the jungle, it's very hard to disengage from the situation because there's just not enough terrain or too much terrain to get around, be able to disengage.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. A lot of times when you're trying to escape up a ramp, Mountain Drake is probably the worst dragon to have. You get stuck on that terrain so often. We saw that with the Crescent Guard too. But PSG, they aren't going to let that small hiccup dissuade them from getting away from the Mountain Drake. This one, again, looks rather uncontested. Beyond Gaming going to trade in the top side for some vision. But I think PSG are very well aware there's no chance they even touch this Baron at this point. So they're happy to just take this one away, continue to snowball on the bottom side.
Yep. Securing themselves that 3rd dragon, putting themselves on to Soul Point here. Mountain Dragon will help considerably, but it's certainly not a death sentence for the side of BYG, as they do have a lot of persistent damage, of course, double AD carry, and a Rise, and Rise already has that Void Staff completed. So it's not the worst of worlds if Mountain Soul does go into their hands. It's just a lot more problematic. You certainly don't want to just gift PSG 18% bonus resistances on top of an extra shielding, but the extra shred will eventually come through for both of these AD carries earlier rather than later, and it should resolve some of the issues with the extra resistances.
I do want to ask you something about the scaling element of this game, because in game 2 we had this sort of just a quick flip of a switch. Where PSG, they were in the lead, and then one team fight later, they were in a massive deficit. Is that going to happen this time around? Where, you know, Beyond Gaming, despite everything that's happened, they've been able to hang on quite cozily since the 12th minute mark.
I think here it just comes down to, okay, Kino separated by pillar, and this is the power of the pillar, but there's a lot of pick potential on PSG, so even if BYG get a little bit comfortable here or get some of this scaling online, they still have to play on edge because of the choke control coming in from a Trundle and a Syndra. And now they're going to try and collapse.
Mawan does have to flank Everfrost across the wall. Dago going in. No one is targeting him. This is a great angle for the Ezreal. Maple on the black side, trying to keep everyone away. Hanabi down to 1 HP, but he will not fall. Mawan ends up being the one going down. River picks up another and is able to walk out with his mobility. Down just doesn't pack enough of a punch at this point. Dago, the lone member, dealing damage at this point. Liang, he's trying, but he ain't there. And PSG take another quite decisive win. 2 kills, despite what a great start Beyond Gaming had.
has looked good initially because the Trundle Pillar doesn't section off enough of that choke, so they are able to force through. But PSG starting out the Baron here. Can Mega Bank Beyond Gaming, can they contest? They don't have these big poke tools up available, no culling, but they are trapped in the pit.
Ezreal's steal more than just Baron in this postseason, but he's not going to be able to pull that one off. Doggo now on the wrong side of the map, but he's got mobility. He can kite for days, and he's got help too. Kino coming in, TP by Liang. They get Doggo out. Saving private Doggo.
Baoan?
Oh, Kai's going incredibly low right here. River has to go in and try to save his support. He does manage to do it. And they get
Maple
Liang over the wall. The 5th death for Lucian. Can Doggo get something back? Maple actually flashes here. He finds the scatter of the week, and goodbye, Doggo.
Yeah, and PSG.
G right there. As, excuse me, we did have slight technical difficulties. We should be getting back into game very shortly here. Stream is popping back up for us. And, you know, the gold lead now is 10,000 gold in favor of PSG.
Yeah, and while this composition from the side of Mega Bank Beyond Gaming is really good when it's ahead, because you have double AD carries that can constantly chase forward and mop up these fights, and they're relatively okay when playing from even because you have decent defensive capabilities with the Braum. This far behind with your, with more importantly your top laner so far behind, it's very difficult. And at the very least, the only saving grace is if you're stuck in your base, you can't get caught out by Trundle Pillar.
Well, I think Kaiwi's trying to prove you wrong right there as they find a huge chunk of damage onto Kino. Again, the PSG emotes getting flash here. There is no mercy shown by PSG Talon as they walk forward into the base. There just isn't much wave clear. Doggo only single target right now, and PSG just walks straight up. River going in, Cannon Barrage going down, Chains of Corruption also layered on top. Pusha very lucky to stay alive here, but River is going to change that as he finds a kill, goes golden into the stasis. That's going to be 2 for PSG as they roll into the base, getting more and more. Inhibitor already down. There's only 3 members left to try and defend, but at least Doggo finds the snipe onto Maple in the backline. No scatter of the week. That's not a lot of crowd control left. If they dodge these skill shots, they should still be fine.
Just no wave clear, though.
Trying to poking. Oh, there's so many empowered minions here, and Doggo takes the Q1, Sonic Rush into it, and Doggo goes down just like that. The main damage dealer already off the map. PSG are going to clean this one off the board. They take the lead in the series 2-1.
PSG showing that game 2 was a bit of a blip. This is more of their bread and butter composition here, having Maple on a bit more of a playmaker rather than a facilitator. Just going back to tried and true, and Hanabi on this Gangplank pick, showing that the Lucian counter pick in the hands of Liang is definitely not the counter.
It's starting to feel like there's too much to handle for Mega Bank Beyond Gaming. There are 3 power picks that they need to keep off the table. They need to ban away Aphelios, they need to make sure Syndra never gets in the pool, and they also have to make sure Gangplank. Fortunately, they have 3 bans, and I'm willing to wager that those are the exact 3 bans they're going to have to ban throughout the entire series.
Yeah, I mean, in that second phase, they chose to ignore the Gangplank. Hanabi gets his Gangplank pick. It's just such a perfect pick for PSG because it allows them to play weak side, yet also scale incredibly well towards the mid and late game. And he didn't even need to wait to scale. He had 2 items so damn early in the game, and there was just no stopping the pain train at that point.
Yeah, there's not a lot that actually counters out the Gangplank. We haven't seen a lot of great picks. Gnar has not worked. Kennen doesn't look like a suitable answer when you're trying to team fight. And Lucian, honestly, this pick has also fell flat on its face. So if there's another GP pick coming out from Hanabi, what can they actually go for?
I mean, the Gwen pick has been left available still, and oddly enough, in PCS, we don't really see that locked in a whole lot lately.
Hmm.
I think Rest is really the only top laner that has gone towards that pick, and he's looking incredibly good on it, by the way. But other top laners just kind of dropped her into the trash can, apparently. Uh, but Snip Snip, still incredibly powerful across the globe, and that's also a pick that can team fight and take the 1v1.
True. That would be a good 1-3-1 adaptation here coming in for this one. So there's just wrapping up game 3 once again. We had a couple pauses back here and there, but it was early, complete domination from top side. Solo kills, ganks into Herald. Leon didn't get to play the game, 0-4-0 at the start. And then in team fights, Maple with crowd control shines so much brighter on this Syndra pick. Bot lane was kind of a wash. Ezreal versus Varus didn't really matter. But Kaiwing and Hanabi just made all the difference necessary in this game to close it out.
Yeah, and the Lee Sin Syndra picks are just so effective against what Mega Bank Beyond Gaming want to draft. They don't draft a lot of bulky compositions here. So no matter at what point in the game you are, even if you are a little bit behind, these two champions will still be able to generate picks on these very, very squishy targets. So really well done from PSG in the draft phase, but also BYG drafting themselves into a bit of a small timing window as they really needed to snowball here. And Hanabi, he will get the MVP, most likely for that 1v1 kill early on in the game. But I will have to say, Kaiwing was really the true hero in getting the early roams on this Trundle pick.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, Trundle was just absolutely everywhere. Got the first pick for Gameplank, and then was also there for the ensuing hero plays as well. So it seems like a very tough order to ask for Beyond Gaming to take it to Silver Scrapes. They're gonna have to win 2 straight to make it there from this point onwards. And for PSG, just way too many weapons here. What do you want to see out of Beyond Gaming if, just boil down one sentence?
Get a little bit bulkier.
All right, you got to be swole boys to take down PSG. Let's see if they can do it heading into game 4. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be heading into a short break.